Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. In this session, we will be discussing from the 19th verse of the 10th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Ashruyantashishak satyaha tatra tatra dvijeritaha na anurupa anurupascha nirgunasya gunatmanaha. The meaning of this verse is, it was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Krishna were neither befitting nor unbefitting, because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. A very important observation here being made is that when Krishna was leaving the palace of Hastinapura, there were Brahmanas who were glorifying Krishna by chanting Vedic hymns and offering benediction to Krishna. Now, it is described in this verse that the benedictions that were being offered to Krishna were neither befitting nor unbefitting. So something like a contradiction. It appears like something like contradictory statement here. So Prabhupada explains this in the purport very nicely. Why is it being said it was neither befitting nor unbefitting? So Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, at places there were sounds of Vedic benediction aiming at the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. The benedictions were fitting in the sense that the Lord was playing the part of a human being as if a cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva, who was the brother of Kunti Devi, and Kunti Devi's son was Yudhishthira. So Yudhishthira and Krishna were cousins in terms of a relationship. But here it is said, because Krishna was playing the part of a human being, though he is not a human being, he is a Supreme Lord always, under all circumstances, but he is playing the part of a human being. Therefore, the benedictions were fitting, because Yudhishthira is the elder brother of Krishna. So the elder brother arranges to offer benedictions by the qualified Brahmanas, which will be offered through chanting of Vedic hymns to the important guest. Krishna has come to the Hastinapura palace as the guest of Yudhishthira. So in that sense it is befitting, because Krishna was playing the part of a human being. But they were unbefitting because the Lord is absolute and has nothing to do with any kind of material qualities, material relativities. Now Krishna is described as Nirguna. Nirguna means absolute, without any material qualities. So he is not a human being, he has no material relationship with anybody, So therefore, this benediction is not suited for Krishna. It is only for people of this world who have some kind of material relationships, and they want some benedictions, because they may utilize those benedictions for their material benefit. Lacking those material benefits, they may desire some benedictions which will help them to get some material benefits. But Krishna is not in need of any material benefit. Krishna has nothing to do with this entire material creation as far as his activities are concerned or his existence is concerned. Then why does he create? He creates for our sake. And we are foolish to desire material enjoyment, while we are entitled to sublime spiritual pleasure in his association. So foolishly we have turned away from Krishna. Foolishly we seek happiness in material pursuits, and Krishna, because we are his part and parcel, we are his own children. So because we insist, we are adamant, Krishna creates this material world and places us in this material atmosphere so that we can try to enjoy materially and try to be happy in this way. But intelligent people realize we can never be happy in this material world by pursuit of material pleasures. We can never be happy. So intelligent persons try to find out the real source of happiness, and that is available only in connection with Krishna, unlimited spiritual bliss. Krishna is a reservoir of that, and in our relationship with Krishna, spiritual relationship, not material relationship, we can have unlimited spiritual bliss. So it is said here, Krishna is nirguna and there are no material qualities in him. That's why nirguna, no material qualities. But Krishna is full of transcendental qualities. When it is said nirguna, doesn't mean that the absolute truth, Krishna is the absolute truth, this absolute personality of Godhead. It doesn't mean when it describes nirguna that he has no qualities at all. He has no material qualities, but he is full of transcendental qualities. That's because he is a transcendental personality. So he has transcendental qualities, full of transcendental qualities. In the transcendental world, there is nothing contradictory. Whereas in the relative world, the world we are staying, it's called relative world. And the transcendental world, the spiritual world where Krishna resides with his pure devotees, that is called the spiritual world, the transcendental world, the absolute world. There are no relativities. And there is nothing contradictory. But in this relative world, everything has got its opposite. For example, in this world, white is the opposite of conception of black. But in the transcendental world, there is no distinction between white and black. How do you understand this? In the spiritual world, there are very, very, very beautiful personalities, equally beautiful, even though some of them are of white complexion and some of them are of black complexion. Krishna himself, the supremely beautiful personality, is dark complexioned, black complexioned. Not exactly black, dark blue. But anyway, Krishna is dark complexioned. In the material world, dark complexioned people are considered not so beautiful. Whereas fair complexioned people are considered very beautiful. This is the material world, the conception of beauty in the material world. In the spiritual world, both are very beautiful. Both are beautiful. Fair complexioned people, devotees, and dark complexioned devotees. Both are beautiful. So, the conception of the material world is different, and the reality of the spiritual world is different. Therefore, the sounds of benedictions uttered by the learned Brahmanas here and there appear to be contradictory in relation with the absolute person. When we try to apply these Brahmanas offering benedictions as arranged by Yudhishthira Maharaj to Krishna, who is departing, then it is contradictory. Krishna doesn't require any benediction. He has nothing to do with benedictions. All the Vedic statements or Vedic chanting, which is meant for offering benedictions, chanted by Brahmanas, are meant for conditioned souls. They are not meant for the 100% liberated Supreme Lord, eternally liberated Lord. It is not meant for him. So, in that sense, not befitting. It doesn't befit the Lord. But Prabhupada says here, very important point, that when such Vedic hymns are applied to the absolute person, they lose all contradiction and become transcendental. So the same glorification, same benedictions, when they are offered to Krishna, in devotion, then they are no longer contradictory. They become transcendental. So the Vedas contain glorification of Krishna throughout. Hari sarvatra giyate. Ultimately, the Vedas are glorifying Krishna only. And everyone and everything in relationship with Krishna, spiritual relationship. So that is the content of the Vedas ultimately, from one perspective, if you analyze from an absolute perspective. The Vedas are nothing but glorification of Krishna, the complete whole, the complete truth, the absolute truth. So, when the Vedic hymns are chanted to glorify Krishna, then there is no more any contradiction. You cannot say it is contradictory. It is irrelevant. It is unbefitting. You cannot say that. So, Prabhupada gives an example in the purport. Lord Sri Krishna is sometimes described as a thief, chor. He is very famous amongst his pure devotees as Makhan Chor. You heard this name. He used to steal butter from the houses of neighbors at Vrindavan in his early age, childhood pastimes of Krishna. He used to steal butter from the neighboring houses. Since then he has become famous as a thief, but in spite of his being famous as a thief, Makhan Chor, he is worshipped as a thief by his devotees. Whereas in the mundane world, a thief is punished and never praised. In our material dealings, somebody who steals is never praised, is always condemned and is punished if he is caught stealing. So why this difference? So Prabhupada explains, since Krishna is the absolute personality of Godhead, everything is applicable to him, and still in spite of all contradictions, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. So on the one hand he is described as a thief, on the other hand he is worshipped as Makhan Chor. So how can these two things go together? That is because when applied to the Supreme Lord, nothing is contradictory. When applied to the Supreme Lord. Because we should remember, in Vrindavan, why is he stealing butter? Simply to give pleasure to his devotees. simply to give pleasure. All his activities are like that. All his activities. Anandamayo Bhyasat, is full of Ananda. And that Ananda he exchanges in interactions with his devotees, all his pure devotees. And they want to please Krishna by serving him lovingly, and Krishna wants to give them pleasure in reciprocal exchange for their service. So, all interactions between Krishna and his devotees in the spiritual world simply result in increased, ever increasing transcendental bliss. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam purnamrita swadanam. So this is the spiritual world, nothing is contradictory. So everything applied to Krishna becomes transcendental. Whereas in the mundane sense, in the material world, there are so many contradictions that cannot be applied to Krishna, contradictory things. No. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.